Okay, in the upper left corner, there's a tool that says base. Pick on base with your left button of your mouse. And a dialog box is going to open up when you do that. And what we want to do is pick a drawing to put in here. And over here on the right-hand side, it says open an existing drawing. So you click on that, actually pick on the magnifying glass there if you want to. And then what you're going to have to do is go to My Drive and go to your 1433 drive or whatever, however you have yours set up. And what you want to find is your actuator base IPT. All right, so now we're talking about the model itself. You're going to go find your actuator base IPT and pick that, and then pick open. And in a second, you're going to see that you should have this view of your actuator base should be opening up. So if that's not happening, you need to tell me. If it's happening, it's cool, but it's working? Okay. So pick up, what's it saying on it?
The database
Okay.
not be open.
All right, go ahead and pick, okay. So let me watch what you're doing. So you're going to base mode.
Should I exit out of this one?
Just save it, make sure that that's, and it's saved in the,
Copies of critical station and
okay. So there's, try to do a file save as so you can put it somewhere else that you can go to. Let's see if it just won't save. Is it giving you something?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why that is corrupted then. Is that coming off your Google Drive? Is that on your Google Drive? Because
Yeah, it's all coming out like Google Drive.
okay, why don't you copy this one? This one should be good. So let's just use this one right here, and just so you can go through the exercise and see what we're doing today.
Okay.
So I've got an actuator base on that USB drive there. Okay, so when you did this, is that the view? The view that you're seeing right here? Is this the view that came up for you? Is that one right there? Because this is going to be our front view, is actually this view right here. Because that shows the most about this part. So what we want to do is we can move this around. We're going to move it up into here, and we can pick OK on that if you want to. And that should place that view just like that, right there. Okay, did that work for everyone? Okay, so what we're going to do next is, if this is our front view, now we don't want it shaded or anything like that. If yours came in shaded, you would double click on that view, and you would look at your dialog box, and you would want to click on this button right here and turn off the shading. But we do want the hidden lines. I can see there's hidden lines on there, so we're good with that. All right, so this is actually going to be our front view, and that's about where we want it. So you can drag this guy, get your cursor inside there if it's not where you want it to be. Drag it to there, and then go next to that, there's a button that says projected. So pick on projected, and move to the right of your front view, just like this right here, and pick. And then right click and choose create. So you're going to pick a point, then right click and choose create. And that's going to be our right side view, is right there. And then we're going to choose projected view. And we're going to come back and pick on the front view. And then we're going to move straight down like this into here. And we're going to pick and then right click and choose create. So those are the three views that we want on this particular project.
Mine's still open.
Why don't you, let's just restart it and then can I see if that will do it. You can't find the model? I'm sorry. Okay, so it's doing that weird thing. I don't know why, this is the second one it's doing it. Did you get that one copy? Can I take this? Yes. Let's just use this model here. So just you can copy it off the USB, or we can just copy it into our drive and hopefully give it a new name maybe so that you can differentiate. So let's use that one. Okay.
Section of.
No, this is just a regular view, so you're gonna go to here and then pick on this view right here. And now just move straight down and pick. And now right click your mouse and choose create. Right. Now double click on this view right here. And turn off the shading. Just click on that right here. And pick OK. There you go. Now, it looks like you have two views over here, one on top of the other, so just pick on one and delete it. Pick one of those views. Doesn't matter which one. Just pick.
It let me use mine after I restarted.
It did? Okay, you might even restart Inventor and that may work as well. So did you get rid of that one view?
Yeah, because I couldn't even pull yours up off the thing. I think when I restarted, I couldn't even pull one you gave me.
All right, okay, good.
The scale stayed on one.
The scale is on this one. Let me see. Yeah, we're going to use a scale of 1 to 1 on this. Okay, so look good. You got rid of that one view, so okay. Now you can drag these views further apart. You can center them, whatever you need to do. But I want to if you look right here, if you pick your main view, as you move it, your other views are connected to it. They're dependent on it. So as you move that view, your other views have to move as well. And so the side view and the bottom view here, these two views are dependent on this view right here. And if you delete this view right there, you're going to lose your other views. You have to keep that view because they are projected views of that view right there. Okay. All right, so if you were making this drawing in AutoCAD, you would have had to draw those visible lines and all the hidden lines. But you don't have to do that with Inventor. It's using all your geometry. So as long as your geometry was good when you modeled the part, you have all your hidden lines, all your visible lines, everything looks good. So it's much faster than with AutoCAD. But what's missing are center lines. So I'm going to show you how to put some center lines in using Inventor, okay? It's much better than with AutoCAD too, I promise. So just to show you how to place individual center lines. If you look right up here in the top, it says Annotate. If you pick on Annotate on that tab right there, this is where all your dimension tools are located at. And I want you to look right in here. These are your center marks that you can use. And there's a center mark right here that just says center mark. It's that guy right there. So pick that with your left button. And let's just go over here and let's pick on this outside circle right up here and pick. And you'll see it put a center mark in right there. Okay. Now, it didn't add a center mark in this direction, and the reason for that is that's an arc. It's not really a full circle. And so if you come inside and you pick on this circle that you have right here, the smaller diameter, just pick on the edge of that, it'll go ahead and add that other center mark to it. Okay. Now you're still in this center mark style, so you can continue, like you can come over here and pick on this circle. You can come here and pick on this radius right here, and you can pick on this circle. Don't pick these 6 circles right here yet. And so really that's the only regular center marks you need to put in these are those right there. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to put the center marks into these 6 holes right here. And there's a couple of steps you have to do that, but it's actually pretty simple to do. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit right here. You see this center mark? When I move my cursor near that center mark, you see that green dot there on the end? If I grab and hold that mark down, I can actually pull that or stretch it. So I'm going to pull that over to the side so it's not running through that hole that I have right there. Okay. So here's how you put that pattern of center marks in. Look right up here, there's a tool called Centered Pattern. Okay. Pick on Centered Pattern, and the only help that Inventor gives you is right down here in the lower left-hand corner. It says select the center of the circular pattern. If you remember when you modeled that, you picked on this circle right here, or this guy out here, so that you could pick the center axis of that, and that's what you want to do here. So to pick the center of that pattern, what I would do is go in here and pick on the edge of that hole right there. Okay. Now it's ready for you to start. It says, click on a location. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick right in the center of that small hole right there with my left button. And then I'm going to go to this hole right here below it, and I'm going to pick right in the center. And as soon as I see that dot light up right there, I'm going to pick. And I'm going to keep working my way around. I'm going to keep picking in the centers of those holes. And I'm going to get to that one, and then I'm going to come all the way back to the first one. So I'm going to pick in every hole, but the first hole I pick, I'll pick on twice eventually. So I'm going to pick right there. And then I'm going to right-click my mouse and choose Create. All right, so I'll do that again so you guys can watch. So you pick on Centered Pattern. For the center of the pattern, we're going to pick this big circle right here. And what that does is it's going to actually pick its center axis. So I pick right there. Then I'm going to pick in that hole right there, this hole here. I'm going to pick in that hole, pick here, pick there, and then pick all the way back at the first hole, and then right-click my mouse and choose Create. And that's how you create a center pattern for center marks. Now that you have those center marks on there, let me show you what you can do. You can zoom in. So all you need to do is scroll the wheel of your mouse and zoom in. And if you move your mouse over onto that center mark, you can actually, oh, come here, undo that. Get back to where I was. You see that green dot? You can drag that line out. You should be able to extend it out like that. And you can drag this guy out. You can extend those, and you can do that with any of these. And so we'll probably fine tune those by stretching those out a little bit. But the plus sign that it's drawn in there is kind of big. And I want to show you how to fix how to scale the size of the plus sign in here. Go on to one of those center holes, just one of those holes, and then right-click your mouse and go to Edit Center Mark Style. So you're just going to go in there, right-click, Edit Center Mark Style like that. It takes a second, but it's going to open up. This guy right here. And what we want to do, you see mark A right here. This is the size of A. That's what it is right now. It's saying that's 0.25. Well, that's really too big for a center mark, the 0.25. So we're going to take A, we're going to set it to 0.125. And the gap is B. You see that gap on either side? That's what this setting is for here. C is the overshoot. It says that's how far it sticks out. We can set that to 0.25 if we want. And for now, let's just change those three things and pick Save and Close right down here. And when you do that, you're going to see that your center marks are a lot smaller. So if anybody's lost, just raise your hand and I'll show you how to do that again. Okay. So whenever you need to change the size of your center mark style, you just go into a center mark and right-click your mouse and choose Edit Center Mark Style. Okay, and that's when you're going to get this dialog box up, and you'll just want to set your changes for your sizes. This is how you fine-tune your dimensions right there. All right. Now, you see this center mark that we have right here? It is also changed size because that's a global setting. Whenever you change it once, it changes everything else. So those are all changed now. But here's what I want to do. You see this center mark that's sticking out here? It should go all the way to this center mark there, like that. And this center mark that you have here, if you want to extend it all the way out through your part to indicate that it's symmetrical, the part is the same on both sides. And then over here on the right-hand side, you can pick on that guy and drag it out a little bit right there, like that. Okay. All right, so the next center marks we're going to put in, you know, there should be a center mark for the center axis of this hole here and this hole that goes through. And the way you put those on is you have this tool right here, which is called Center Line Bisector. You see that guy right up there? So pick on that. And then you're going to pick on this hidden line here, and you're going to pick on that hidden line there, and it's going to put a center mark in. And you'll do the same thing down here. You'll pick there, and you'll pick on the side here. And right now it's not showing us the center line, but we're going to adjust that so we can see that. But now we have a center line going through. And we can actually do that as well. Drag this view over to here. We can pick here and pick here in the side view, and pick there and pick there. And we can pick here and pick here and get a center mark through there. Now, when I go to that center mark and I right click on it and I go to Edit Center Mark Style again. And the dialog box is going to open. My machine's running pretty slow today for some reason. So it's telling me that everything looks good, but for some reason it's not showing my center mark yet. So, but still it looks okay. So I'm just going to cancel for right now. And I'm going to see what happens if I extend these center marks out. Okay, if I can see that if I extend them long enough, I'm starting to see a gap in that center mark there. So it has something to do, I know, with the length of my center mark. So I'm going to right click on that guy. I'm going to Edit Center Mark Style. I'm going to try some different numbers in here. So for my mark, I'm going to go smaller. I'm going to go 0.1 on the mark. And then on the gap, I'm going to go 0.05, like right there. And on my overshoot, maybe I've got that too long. I'm going to go try 0.125. And then pick Save and Close and see if that changes things for me. Yeah, it looks like that did a better job. And that's global, so that's going to change all of my center marks. Look like something like that right there. And so remember that we want our center marks to stick out about 1/4 of an inch or so. And so to give you an idea of what 1/4 of an inch is on this drawing, these holes that we have right here, the diameter of those holes is 0.25, so that gives you an idea of that, okay? So you can see these guys they look better now. The gaps look better inside those as we extend all this stuff out like that. And we'll want to add those center marks using Center Line Bisector. We're going to go to this center line and that center line. We want one in the middle there. We want one between this point and this point for the center of this hole that we have right here. And actually, we're going to want them for all of these holes that we have. Now, if you look right here on this side view, you see a hidden line and a hidden line that are close together, and then you see a hidden line and a hidden line that are close together on this side. And so it's like, well, where are all those hidden lines coming from? What those are is, let me scroll out a little bit. You see this hole that you have over here that has a hidden line going around it? That's what a threaded hole looks like in a drawing. So it has a visible circle and it has a hidden circle outside of it. So when you project these two circles to your side view, what you get are two hidden lines. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. So see, this guy right here is actually that hole, and that's what a threaded hole looks like. It has a double row of hidden lines on it to represent the thread as it goes through. All right. Now, one thing that's happening for me, I'm used to drawing with AutoCAD, and let's see if this is happening for you. When you scroll the mouse, does it seem to be going the opposite direction of what you're used to, or is it? Okay. So you can actually fix that by going up here to Tools, and let's see, I believe it's an Application Options. Let me see if it's on Display. Okay, if you pick on the Display tab, so I picked on Tools, Application Options, and I picked Display. And what I want to do on my zoom behavior is check this box for reverse direction, and that will reverse the way that the scroll wheel is running, and then pick OK. And now when I scroll, it should feel normal to the way I like for things to scroll in and out.
I think Mastercam does it the way that this is normally set, so I'm like used to that.
Okay.
And I've been doing
You're
that
used
this
to
on
that.
my computer at home.
Yeah, and so if you're a mechanical student, this makes sense if that's the way it works, you know, to be backward. If you were an architecture student and you were used to it rolling the other way, you know, you would set it. Are you okay? Okay, so I am recording what I'm talking about right here, so I will post the recording of this today. I hope it's recording anyway. I'm trying. It looks like it is. Okay, so let's talk about putting some dimensions on here. We said we have about 18 or 19 dimensions, and so let's start by putting one of those dimensions on. And so if you go to Annotate, to this tab right up here, and you guys can follow along with what I'm going to do. I'm going to place the first dimension. Let me find my dimension tool. So this dimension tool right here is kind of a universal dimension tool. It will do all kinds of dimensions, not just linear dimensions. It can do radius and diameter. So I'm going to pick on that, and the first one I'll put in, let's put a simple one in. Let's go from this line right here, and so you can go to that corner, you can pick right there at that corner, and then you can come right over here, and you can actually pick at the center point right there, and just move your cursor straight down, and you would pick a point like right there for 3.5. All right. So what I would do at that time, I would take my marker and I would find the 3.5 on here and I would highlight it. So I've got my first one in there, okay? And I'm just going to keep progressing like that until I've got everything on here. So I'm going to show you where I would put another dimension. Let's put over here on this side view. Go to your dimension tool, pick on that corner there, and then pick on this corner here, and then move out to the right. And you'll notice that it snaps. There's a point at which it snaps as you move out. So let's just pick right there and let it snap right there. Now, I know that the dimension is 0.375, but I'm going to show you how to fix that in just a second. All right, so you're still in the dimension command, and if you look at the dimensions on the sketch, you need a dimension from this point right here to this corner right here, and that should be 1.25, and as you move out, it's going to snap, and it's going to line up with that one you just put in. And you're still in the dimension command, and now we can just go from this corner here to that corner there and move out and let it snap like that, and then press escape. So what I had to do was drag this dimension up so that it wasn't down into here, but you can see all my dimensions are there. And so what I would actually do then for those three dimensions is they're right up here. I would take my highlighter and I would highlight those three dimensions. Okay. So whenever you hand a drawing in to me, if you left one of those dimensions off, it would be a -5. Okay. You leave 2 off and you've gone from 100 to a 90. You leave 3 off, you're down to an 85 and so on like that. But out there on a job, if you leave a dimension off, that's really a bad thing. It's just going to stop what everybody's doing. They're going to try to figure out what the dimension should be, and it means the part's going to cost more money. So these are important kind of mistakes. Now, the thing about that 0.38 is that it should be 0.375. So what we're going to do is go onto that dimension. Actually, let's press escape and then go onto that dimension and right-click our mouse. Once you right-click, you have the option for precision, and you're going to go right to here to 3 decimal places of precision and pick right there. So now that's going to go to 0.375. You'll want to do the same thing over here. You would right-click, go to precision, and go to 3 places like that. All right. Now the other thing that we don't want on here, you see that leading zero that you have because we don't want those leading zeros. And so again, that's a dimension style type thing. So we're going to right click on this guy. And what we want to do is right down here it says edit dimension style. Okay. We're going to click on that. It takes a second to open it up. And then what we want to do is, you see right here it says leading zeros and there's a check mark by it. Uncheck leading zeros right there. We want to keep the trailing zero, so if we had 1.00, the 00 would follow, it would show. And then we're going to pick save and close. All right. Now, that's a global setting, so it's going to remove the leading zeros on any future dimensions that we may put in. They're not going to be in there like that. All right, so now we really do know that these 3 dimensions right here are correct. So we can highlight all those. So over here on the side it says 1.375, and we want to do that on this view right here. So just go to dimension, pick this corner right there, pick in the center of your hole right there, move out to the side, and let it snap like that right there. All right. Now that should be 3 decimal places, right? So what do? You move on to it and you right click. Well, first you have to press escape because you're still in the dimension. Then you right click, you go to precision and you choose 3. Then you would highlight that on your sketch. We need a radius for this radius that we have right here. So we're going to go to dimension, and we're just going to pick on that arc like that right there, and move out like that right there, and pick. So there's our radius of 0.75. I would highlight that now. But that's a large radius, so what I would also do, I'm going to right click on that. Actually, I press escape first, and then right click on it. And let's see what we can do. If we can, we need to change the option. Okay, see the options right here? We're going to pick arrows on the inside, like that right there. So for a large radius, that's a good way to do a large radius. Now, over here, we have a diameter for that hole right there. So you're gonna go to dimension again and just pick on the edge of that hole and move right out into here and just pick like that. And then I would highlight that as well. But that one actually says 3 times diameter 50. And so I want to add at least a 2x on this guy because there are actually 2 holes. There's the hole here and there's the hole on the opposite side over here. So if you double click on the 0.50, and it's going to open up this dialog box right here. And if you put your cursor in front of what you're seeing right there, you should be able to write 2 and a capital X and a space. So let's see if we can get that cursor to go in front of there.
Is there any reason the box pops up every time I do a dimension?
Yes. Okay, so every time you put a dimension, that's opening up. It's a setting, so that's good. I'm glad you pointed out. That might be happening. Is that what happened with all you guys? When you put a dimension, a box pops up automatically? Okay. I've got mine turned off because it'll drive you nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we want to do is we want to go up here to Tools again, pick on Tools, pick Application Options, and go to Drawing right up here. Okay. And see this box right here, Edit Dimension when created, uncheck that box. And then that'll turn that off and you'll only have to open it when you want to edit something. And then you can just pick Close when you're done with that. Okay. All right, so what I did was I double clicked on my diameter 0.50 and I put my cursor in front of that. And actually what I had to do was to place my cursor on the right side of it and use the directional arrow to the left and pick that to move my cursor in front of it. Then I wrote 2x, so I want to have 2 of those holes. There's actually 3, but we're going to get that one on the third one on another view. All right, so now what I want to do here is, let's see if I've got everything. I'm going to drag this guy. You see this dimension right here? If you put your cursor on it and hold down with your button, you can actually should be able to drag that. Come on. It's not dragging. We drag it by the point right there. But see, you can move these guys around even once you get them in, so you can fine tune things like that right there. Okay, so while we're fine tuning, I'm going to take this and drag it down, and I'm going to take this guy and I want to drag it down about 1/4 of an inch below there. All right, so if I highlight all of this R.75, if you double click on it and put your cursor right there and then press your left arrow and type 2x, and it should be, I would make it a capital X and a space. So we're going to say 2x R.75. And so we have 2 of those tabs sticking up, so we're going to put 2x on there whenever we do that. So I'm going to do another thing I want to show you guys. I'm going to place an isometric view on this, and I'm going to place an isometric view right here at a different scale. I'm actually going to project that view either off of this view or this view, so I'll show you what we're going to do. If you go to the Place Views tab right here, and you choose Projected View, you see as you move your cursor around, it's projecting different views. So when I project off of this bottom view here, if I move in that direction right there, this is actually the view that I want. It's coming off of that bottom view. If I come off the top view, I may get a different view, but this is, whatever gives you this view, this is the one you want. And so what you're going to do when you see that view right there, you're going to pick, and it takes a second, then right click and choose Create. And then we're going to drag that view down. Now, the view is too big, and it should be, and we want it to be shaded. So what we're going to do is once we get that view there, we're going to double click on it. And we're going to choose shading right here on that button. And for the scale, we're going to go right in here where it says scale, and we're going to say 3 equals 4 and pick OK. And that makes it look smaller, and we can drag it a little bit. We can center it where we kind of want that to be. Maybe I'm going to move these views up a little bit now and start to sort of rearrange by drawing a bit. But you see this line right here, and this line right here, and this line right here, those are tangent edges. And we usually don't want those to show. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can move your mouse onto one, and you can right click, and you can uncheck visibility. And that would turn one off like that. Or you can double click on the view. And then you can go to display options, this tab right up here. And you can uncheck tangent edges right there and pick OK. And you can turn them all off in one shot if you want to do it that way. All right. Okay, so I want to show you guys, I'm going to go to annotate again. And I'm going to put this dimension from this corner. Go to dimension, I want to go from that corner there to this corner here, and I'm going to move out here, and I'm going to place a dimension that says 2.00, and I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to drag it up just a little bit. Hang on. Press escape, drag it up just a little bit. Okay, I want to ask you something. Is it okay to do that? Is it okay to put 2 on here and also have these 3 dimensions here? What do you think? If there was a tolerance applied to all of those, would that work? No. It wouldn't, because the person making this could say, this is 3.75 plus or something, plus or minus its tolerance, this is plus or minus its tolerance, this is plus or minus its tolerance, but this would only have one tolerance applied here. So if we include this, and this is not a bad idea to include, we need to put it in parentheses. So it's a reference dimension only. And so the way you do that is you can double click on that dimension with your mouse, and you can go in here and you can add parentheses to the text if you want to. Let's see if we can get the parentheses on there. And choose OK on that. Now, another thing you can do, though, is you can actually choose a reference dimension by choosing this tab right there. And so people will do it where they'll add their own parentheses to it, or you can take those off. I'm going to take this one off. And you can go instead to precision and tolerance, and you can choose reference and pick OK. And it will add them automatically. You can do it either way you want to do it. But that should be a reference dimension right there. Okay. All right, so we need another dimension on this view right here. We're going to go to diameter, or actually dimension. We're going to pick right here and pick at this corner right here and move out and wait till it snaps and put that guy on there like that, and then press escape. We need to drag it up a little bit. And what that is, it's the diameter of this round shape we have over here. But according to the ASME dimension standard, when we do cylinders, we should do them in the side view. So this is why we're going to put this one over here. But we had to put a diameter symbol in front of it. So you double click on that. And this is going to open. We'll go back to text right here. And we want to put our cursor in front of our value. Now the reason it's not showing our value right there, it's because it's using the value that we modeled it at. So as long as whatever we modeled it at, that's what we're going to get right there. But look over here at all these symbols that you have, and you have a symbol right here for diameter. Okay, so you just pick on diameter, and it puts a diameter symbol in front of that, and you pick OK. So that's how we get this diameter 2.75. And at that point, I would take my marker and I would highlight the 2.75. And so I'm starting to see what I have left as far as my dimensions go, and I don't have that many left. And we're about out of time. So I want to show you real quick about putting some GDT in, and then you can put the rest of your dimensions in when you go home, or you can stay in class up here. Class ends at 1:45, so we're actually there. What I wanted to show you though was how to put in a datum identifier. And so if we go up here where it says symbols and we pick on this down arrow right there, there is a datum identifier. It's that symbol right there. Pick on that and then pick on this bottom edge that you have right there, and then just move straight down and pick again. And you can see the A that's right over there. We don't have to change anything. If that were B, we would type B or whatever and then pick OK. And it puts it in, and then we can press escape. Now, you can actually straighten that out, and that would be preferred, is to straighten the A, and then you can drag it up a little bit like that. So this is how you can manipulate. So there's a datum identifier of A, and I would highlight that. Once I put it in, I would highlight it on my sketch. And then we need a feature control frame on this guy. And so we're going to go to the feature control, which is right here. This is the feature control frame. You pick on feature control frame. We're going to pick on the top edge of that and bring this out like that. And we're going to pick again and right click and pick continue. So when we pick continue, we have to pick our symbol, which in this case is parallelism. So we would pick there, go down to right there and pick parallelism. For the tolerance, we're going to type 0.005. And for our datum, right over here, we're going to type a capital A. All right. And then we pick OK. And our symbol goes in right there. Now, we need to do another parallelism symbol for this hole right up here, the diameter 0.50. And on this one, we don't want an arrowhead. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to move right next to the hole, and then we're going to pick, and immediately we're going to right click. We're not going to move our cursor. We're just going to pick continue. And so when we do that, it doesn't put an arrowhead in. And so we want this to be parallel, but this time our tolerance, we actually need a diameter in here. So we've got to go find our diameter symbol. So I'm looking at the note in the sketch, and we're going to type 0.03 relative to A and pick OK. And let's see. So if we highlight both of those, I think that's our that's both of our GD and T. So we only have a few more dimensions left to go.
How do you pull up the diameter symbol?
Okay, so when you double click on this guy right here, and you're in your tolerance, go right down here and pick on and pick diameter right there. Yeah. Or you can pick it right here. You can pick diameter here or pick it from up there. All right, now you see these feature control frames, they're really big, and they also have a leading 0 in front of them. And we want to edit that. So what we do, we go on to one of the feature control frames, we right click the mouse, and we go to edit feature control frame. And, we right click on it and we choose edit feature control frame style, because we're changing the style of the feature control frame. And it takes a minute for it to open, but it will open. And what we want to do now is, like here on units, where it says units, we pick on that. We're going to uncheck leading zeros right there. So it'll take out that leading 0. And then we're going to go back. We're going to get out of units. We're going to pick on general right here. And this time what we want to do is, for our text style and height, you see this right here, text style, we're going to pick on, there's a pencil right here. It says edit text style. We're going to pick on that and pick yes on save edits. And that takes us to here. And the reason why our box is so large, it's using a text height of 0.2. And we want that to be 0.125 to match our dimension text. And at that point, once we've changed our text height to 0.125, it's going to make the box smaller because the text is going to be smaller. So you just pick Save and Close. All right. Then you can drag this guy next to that over there. So again, when you're ready to change this, you just move your cursor onto it, right click, and go to change the style for the feature control frame. When this opens up, the first thing you can do is pick on Units right here and turn off your leading 0, and then pick on General. And it says right here, scale the box. You're going to scale the box to the text height, so we have to pick actually on our text style is that. That's our Edit button right there. And we're going to change that to 0.125. And that's what made the box smaller when we did that. All right, so at this point, I would highlight those two boxes. And there's 4 more dimensions, 5 more dimensions, and a note to go on there. The note is going to go right down here under Material. That's going to say 6061 aluminum, so you can just double click on that and add 6061, and then all caps, aluminum, and then pick OK, like that. We need a dimension for the height. We would pick this corner and drag that out to here. And then we would right click on, we'd pick OK, and then we would right click on that and we would go to Precision and choose 3 decimal places, and then I would highlight that one. And let's see, I'm going to go to the top view here. I want to show you how to put in a threaded hole note. Instead of using dimension, because I've got these 6 threaded holes that I have right here, I actually go to Hole and Thread Note. You pick on that, and then I'm going to pick, let's see, I'm going to pick this hole right here. And I'm going to move out like that, and there's my note. And so it's 1/4-20. That's number of threads per inch, Unified National Course -2B to a depth of 0.38. Now, actually, I don't want the depth to be on there because this hole goes all the way through. So I can do an escape and I can double click on that. And so you see this box that says Use Default? That's what that current note is. If I uncheck that right there, Use Default, and remember I just double clicked on this guy, I'm going to uncheck Use Default. And at that point, I can backspace that depth off and pick OK and change that to where I want that to be right there. And then I would highlight that note. The thing is, though, I need that to say 6 times. So if I double click on it and I put my cursor right in front of it like that, I would type 6 and a capital X, because on my other ones I used a capital X, then a space, and pick OK. And the other one that I'm missing is I need a diameter on this guy right here. So I just pick on that and move out like this right here. And actually what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to right click on that and I'm going to go to Options, and I'm going to go to Leader from Center and right click, Options. I want this to be a diameter instead of, so what am I doing here that's wrong? Oh, I know, I've got to uncheck Single Dimension Line right there, so it puts it all the way through, like that. Then I would highlight that guy. Let's see, oh, we need a diameter for this bolt pattern right here. So I would go to Dimension and I would pick on that bolt pattern. And where am I going to put that one at? Let's see, I'm going to bring that out like maybe there. And again, I would double click, I'm sorry, just right click on that, go to Precision and choose 3 places, because that's 2.125, and then right click on it and go to Options and go Leader from the Center, right click again, and go to options and uncheck single dimension line so it goes all the way across, something like that. And then highlight that. Is everybody doing okay? You getting most of these in there? So this is the process, you know, that we would go through to put these dimensions on. So I have these fillets right here. I have a fillet here and one on the opposite side over there. So I can make a note and say that all my fillets are R.375, or I can use a dimension and pick on this. So what you want to do is pick on that fillet and then just move out like into that space right there and pick. Right click on that, or press escape first and then right click. Go to precision, set it to 3 places, and then double click on it and put your cursor in front of it and type 2x. Should be capitalized. Pick OK. And we can also put a center mark on that by going right up here and choosing center mark and just picking on that. And you can see it places a center mark for us. So I would mark that at that point. We need to do the same thing on this one up here. So you could use dimension and again just pick on that arc like that and then drag that around. Now this one gets a little tricky because it has to do with your placement, but I would do it something like that right there. Right click on it, pick OK, then right click again and go to precision and set it to 3. Double click on it and put 2x in front of it and a space. Pick OK and highlight that one. And let's see what else we're missing. Oh, I know we've got one more to go. Got 2 more dimensions to go and we'll be done. We need a dimension from this corner here to the center of this, and we want to bring that out. We want to wait till it snaps right there and just place that right there. And then we would highlight that one. And, oh, the one we're missing for this whole pattern right here, we know what the diameter of the whole pattern is. That's the 2.25. We know what the size of the hole is and how many there are, but we don't know the angle between all of these holes. So I would just use the dimension, and this one's a little trickier. You're going to come up here. Let's pick on this line and then pick on this line here and then move out like that. We want to move away from our part and pick, and then we want to double click on that because there's actually 6 of those. So we're going to type 6x in a space, put OK. So 6 times 60 degrees for all that guy right there. Oh, we're actually missing one more dimension. It's the diameter of this hole right here. So we can do a dimension and bring that out like this right here. And at that point, I believe we have all of our dimensions in there. Okay? And so you would want to save this. And then I would go back in and kind of fine tune it, make sure you've got all of your dimensions on there and everything. And once you save this, you'll still want to fill out your title block. You can actually submit this to me through Blackboard. Okay? And it'll say submit actuator base. You'll see that. You can submit it online that way. Remember that to fill out the title block and everything you have down here, you have to go over here to the tree and you have to find your title block. So you may have to expand on sheet 1 and then go to your title block and expand on that. And you see where it says field text, double click on field text. Come on. I guess it's taking a second to open. That should open up and you should be able to fill out your title block. Come on. Maybe I was still in a dimension command or something. There we go. And so you're going to go through here, and for the drawing title, It's going to be, I would put some spaces and try to center it, and then actuator base. And then the scale, I would say, is noted, because we're going to have different scales, I believe, on this guy. Actually, I think we can say 1-to-1 on this. I'll show you why. 1 equals 1. And then date and your name here and the typical stuff. These 5 X's would be your section number, the 28017, I think. Anyway, I'm going to pick OK. So you can see actuator base is not quite centered. So I would double click on this again, and I would put a few more spaces in front of that and pick OK and see if I can center that better. So our scale says 1-to-1. So these 3 views right here are 1-to-1. But what I want to do is put a text box in. I'm going to pick on text, and I'm going to just draw right in there. And I want my text to be 0.125. And what I'm going to write here is scale. Put a colon there, not a semicolon. 3 equals 4, and pick OK. And then press escape and move this down a little bit. Because the scale of this view right here is 3/4, where everything else is 1-to-1. All right. So the assignment is to finish this before next Tuesday and to submit it to me. To get all these dimensions on there and to submit it to me, okay? And so what I had intended to do today, I thought we'd have a little bit more time. Actually, today's Tuesday, this will be Thursday. Have it ready, submit it to me by Thursday. And what I intended to do today, but I don't think we're gonna have enough time, is I was going to actually let you look at a check print of this and compare it to your drawing and go through and make all those changes. And since we don't have time to do that, I think what I'll do is, when you submit it, I will send you a PDF for a check print, and you can check yours against my check print, and then you'll submit it a second time for a grade, and I'll grade it at that point. And remember, any missing dimension is going to be a -5. A dimension like this one that's 3 decimal places, if you send it to me, it's 1.38, that would be a -5. Anything that would result in this part being manufactured incorrectly is a -5 mistake.
Manufacturer without question.
We want to make sure you can make it from our thing. And so that's how I grade. I'm just looking for those kinds of mistakes that would mean this would be made wrong, or you couldn't make it. And then the other thing, like let's say you misspelled actuator, that would be a -1. That wouldn't keep it from making it, that would just be a nuisance. If you left off the material, it would be a -5, because they wouldn't know what material to make it from. Okay. So this will be your first project that will be graded with a vengeance, right? So I'll be real careful. Now, if you submitted the other project, the first one, you should be able to go into Blackboard and see your grade and everything now too. So if you go to Blackboard, you click on My Grades, you'll be able to see your grades for the first project. Okay? So on Thursday morning, this class will be held online. Okay, and I'm going to give you a new project to model on Thursday. So try to finish this by Thursday and submit it. And you'll get a new model on Thursday. And then next Tuesday, when we come to class, I'm going to show you how to dimension everything. The second one, we're going to talk more about dimensioning and all that sort of thing. Okay? So that's it. I'll see you on Thursday. Can you help me? Sure. And then on Tuesday, hopefully you'll be here again at 11. It'll go a lot smoother because you'll be able to log in. If you need to work on your Google Drive, work on Google Drive over the weekend or whatever. Let me stop projecting to your screen. So there you go. Okay, so just zoom in so you can see it there. And now go to your thing. Now, click on it. You don't want to click on it right on those 3 dots. It's so you can get right on until like this. So you can almost have to right there where you can click. Now I'm going to push it down.
Okay, that's what I would do.
And then, yeah, it's going to be a function of 3 with of where you move your mouse to, where you place it.
Exactly.
Dang. This mask is no fun to try to lecture with.
Yeah. So I can, I put it on the
They're using the home grid. And now they can go put them in the ditch and then move it out. And then you can go put them on there and then go in and edit it. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, yeah, and then take off like that. And then you can just back up. You just back that. It doesn't show it to you, but see that, that simple, that's this one right there. So you just back, so see that.
and you just put
It sits there. And it stays.
and then right here,
Actually, we can talk about this next week. Yeah, you can change the trigger right there on this. And you go to edit. It's actually, it's there. And then you change it away from there. So we haven't talked about the vision histories yet.
this model, the one that we created, I would have, is that supposed to be already uploaded? Or is that?
No, you're not gonna submit it, you're just gonna submit this. So you should have this. Yeah. You don't need to send it to me.
Submit, so you want to submit this?
Yeah, you're gonna say this IDW, this is what we'll submit. So I won't, the only way I'll be grading the model is that if the model's wrong, this will be wrong. So as long as the model's good, the drawing will be good.
Okay, one last thing I
Could it
could,
be weapons?
let me type in my.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay, see, that thing kept hiding
It was
under,
on the other
it
side.
kept hiding it under your screen.
And it'll do that, and, yeah, so